I was 15 when I sat in that lawyer's office and learned exactly how much my father thought I was worth. $1, not 1,000,000, not 1,000, $1. The lawyer, Mr. Patterson, cleared his throat uncomfortably and adjusted his glasses as he read the specific clause. To my daughter, Aria Hayes, I leave the sum of $1, $100, with the hope that she learns the value of earning one's own way in life, as I have always taught her. Across the mahogany table, my stepmother Victoria smiled. That small, tight smile I'd seen 1,000 times, the one that said, "You got what you deserved." My half-siblings, Mason, 12, and Olivia, 10, didn't even look up from their phones. The lawyer continued. The remainder of the estate, valued at approximately $42 million, including the family home, investment portfolio, and business assets, shall be divided as follows: 50% to Victoria Hayes, 25% to Mason Hayes, 25% to Olivia Hayes, $4.2 million, and I got $1. Mr. Patterson slid a crisp bill across the table toward me, like he'd prepared it specifically for this humiliating moment. "I'm very sorry, Miss Hayes," he said quietly. "If you'd like to contest the will, you have 120 days to file." "No," I said, my voice coming out steadier than I felt. "I don't need to contest it." Victoria's smile widened. "How mature of you, Aria. Your father would be proud." I picked up the dollar bill and folded it carefully into my pocket. "Would he?" I asked, meeting her eyes. "Or would he be proud that you made sure his first daughter got erased from his life long before he died?" Her smile faltered. "Aria," Mr. Patterson intervened gently, "perhaps we should schedule a follow-up." "I'm good," I said, standing. "I got exactly what I came for." They thought I meant the dollar. What I really meant was proof. Proof that everything I'd suspected about my father's perfect second family was true. Proof that the man who'd abandoned me at 8 years old had rewritten his entire history to pretend I never existed. Proof that Victoria had spent 7 years systematically removing me from my own father's life. But here's what they didn't know. I'd been documenting everything for years. Every missed birthday, every cancelled visit, every lie they told about why I couldn't come to family events, every social media post featuring Mason and Olivia as our precious children. Plural, not 3. And now, with $1 and 120 days, I was going to make them regret every single one of those choices. My name is Aria Hayes. This is the story of how my father's perfect family tried to erase me, and how I made sure the world saw who they really were. I need to take you back to understand how we got here. My parents divorced when I was 7. Standard story. They grew apart, wanted different things, stayed friends for my sake. My dad, Richard Hayes, was a real estate developer. Self-made man, worked his way up from nothing, built a company that flipped luxury properties across 3 states. He was proud of that. "Everything I have, I earned," he'd say. "Nobody handed me anything." For the first year after the divorce, things were normal. I lived with my mum during the week, spent weekends with Dad. He'd pick me up Friday afternoon. We'd get pizza, watch movies, spend Saturday at the park or the mall. Sunday mornings, he'd make pancakes, chocolate chip, my favorite, and we'd talk about school, my friends, what I wanted to be when I grew up. "Anything you want to be, Aria Bear," he'd say. "You work hard, you earn it, it's yours." Then he met Victoria. She was a yoga instructor at the gym where he worked out. 28, he was 42, blonde, beautiful. The kind of woman who smiled constantly, but whose eyes never quite matched. He introduced us 6 months into their relationship. "Aria, this is Victoria. She's very special to me. I hope you two can be friends." I was 8. I wanted my dad to be happy. So I tried. I tried so hard, but from the first moment, something felt wrong. Victoria would smile at me when my dad was looking, but when he turned away, her face would go blank, like I was furniture she had to navigate around. She'd ask me questions about school, my mom, my hobbies, but she wasn't really listening. She was collecting information. 3 months later, they announced they were getting married. "This means you'll have a new mom," my dad said excitedly. "I already have a mom," I replied quietly. Victoria's smile tightened. "Of course you do, sweetie. I'm not trying to replace her. I just want us to be a family." That word, family. Over the next 2 years, I learned exactly what Victoria's version of family meant. It started small. My weekend visits would get rescheduled because Victoria had planned something for her and my dad. Date night, a work event, a last-minute trip. "We'll make it up to you next weekend, Aria Bear," he'd promise. Next weekend would come. Something else would conflict. Then Victoria got pregnant with Mason. "Your dad needs to focus on me right now," she'd tell me on the phone when I'd call. "I'm having a difficult pregnancy. Maybe you should give us some space." After Mason was born, my visits dropped from every other weekend to once a month. Then, once every 2 months. By the time Olivia was born, when I was 11, I was seeing my dad maybe 4 times a year, and every single time I did, Victoria made sure I felt like an outsider. Little things. Family photos on the walls. Dad, Victoria, Mason, Olivia. No Aria. The guest room where I used to sleep had become Olivia's playroom. Dinner conversations where they'd talk about family traditions I'd never heard of. Mason and Olivia calling my dad Daddy, while I'd started just saying Dad. And Victoria would always emphasize it. Yes, Daddy loves spending time with his children. The worst part, my dad didn't notice. Or maybe he did, and he just chose not to see. When I was 13, I confronted him. We were sitting in his car after he'd dropped me off at my mom's. He was about to leave when I said, "Do you even want me in your life anymore?" He looked shocked. "Aria, what kind of question is that?" "Of course I do. You're my daughter." "Then why does it feel like I'm disappearing?" "You're not disappearing. You're just growing up. Teenagers pull away. It's normal." "I'm not pulling away. You're pushing me out." He shook his head, frustrated. "That's not fair. Victoria and I have been nothing but welcoming. We've tried to include you, but you're the one who's always got an attitude. You're the one who makes things difficult." That's when I realized he believed it. Victoria had rewritten the narrative so completely that he genuinely believed I was the problem. So I stopped fighting. I started documenting instead. I bought a notebook at the dollar store, spiral-bound, plain blue cover. On the first page I wrote, "Evidence, how Victoria Hayes erased Aria Hayes." I started recording everything. September 15th, age 13. Missed my birthday. Dad said he'd call. Didn't. Saw Instagram post from Victoria. "Birthday party for our babies. Mason is 10. Olivia is 8. Blessed, hug family. No mention of me turning 13 the same week. November 22nd, age 13. Thanksgiving. Not invited. Mom called Dad to ask if I could join for dinner. Victoria answered and said, "We're having an intimate family celebration this year." Screenshots saved of their Instagram. Thankful for our little family of 4. December 25th, age 13. Christmas. Received a $50 Visa gift card in the mail. No card, no phone call. Saw Victoria's Facebook post. Best Christmas morning with our perfect little family. Santa was so good to Mason and Olivia. 36 photos. I'm in 0 of them. I kept going. Every missed visit, every broken promise, every social media post that featured a family of 4. I also started screenshotting things that seemed harmless but revealed the truth. Victoria's mummy blog, where she wrote about raising 2 children. My dad's LinkedIn profile, proud father of 2. Their family Christmas card sent to my grandparents, the Hayes family, Richard, Victoria, Mason, and Olivia. I wasn't just collecting feelings. I was collecting proof. By the time I turned 15, I had 47 documented instances of missed visits, calls, 200 plus social media posts featuring the family of 4, 15 school events my dad promised to attend but didn't. 3 years of holiday cards that didn't include me. Emails between my mum and Victoria discussing custody schedule, where Victoria repeatedly suggested I was too busy or didn't seem interested. I had a paper trail that proved I hadn't disappeared. I'd been erased. And then my father died. My dad had a heart attack at his office. Sudden, unexpected. He was 51. I found out from a Facebook notification. Not a call from Victoria. Not a message from my grandparents. A Facebook notification. Victoria Hayes is feeling heartbroken. Richard Hayes, beloved husband and father, passed away unexpectedly today. Our hearts are shattered. Please keep our family in your prayers. I stared at my phone for 10 minutes before I could breathe. Then I called Victoria. She answered on the 6th ring. Hello? It's Aria. I just saw, is it true? A pause. Yes, your father passed this morning. Why didn't you call me? I've been busy, Aria. I have 2 children to comfort. This is very hard for us. He was my dad, too. Another pause. The funeral is Saturday at St. Michael's, 11 a.m. I assume you'll attend. She hung up. The funeral was exactly what I expected. Victoria, Mason, and Olivia sat in the front row, dressed in coordinated black. The service program featured a photo of the 4 of them: Dad, Victoria, Mason, Olivia, all smiling on a beach somewhere I'd never been. Under the photo, Richard Hayes, devoted husband and father. The eulogy, delivered by my dad's business partner, talked about Richard's greatest joy, his family, his beautiful wife Victoria, his son Mason, his daughter Olivia. They were his whole world. I wasn't mentioned once. I sat 3 rows back with my mum, my aunt, and my grandmother, Dad's mum, who looked furious but stayed silent. After the service, people approached Victoria to offer condolences. Your family is so beautiful. Those children, his legacy, he must have been so proud. I waited until most people had left, then approached Victoria directly. Can we talk? She looked at me like I'd asked her to jump off a bridge. Now isn't the time, Aria. When is the time? You didn't call me when he died. You didn't mention me in the service. You've literally pretended I don't exist. Lower your voice, she hissed. This is not about you. This is about honoring your father. He was my father before he was your husband. Her face went cold. Was he? Because from what I saw, you barely made an effort to be part of his life these last few years. The lie was so smooth, so practiced, that for a second even I almost believed it. That's not true. Isn't it? Richard told me how hard he tried, how many times he reached out and you were too busy with your friends, your school, your mother's drama. You made your choice, Aria. You can't rewrite history now that he's gone. Rewrite history. That's exactly what she'd been doing for 7 years. I looked at her. This woman who'd stolen my father, erased me from his life, and was now rewriting the story to make me the villain. You're right, I said quietly. I can't rewrite history, but I can make sure people see the truth. She smiled. Good luck with that. Which brings us back to that lawyer's office. $1, $4.2 million to Victoria and the kids. Nothing for me. The message was clear. You weren't important enough to remember. I took that dollar bill, folded it into my pocket, and walked out of the office. My mum was waiting in the car. How bad was it? She asked. He left me $1. She gripped the steering wheel. Aria, I'm so sorry. We can contest this. We can fight. No, I said. We're not going to fight. What? I pulled out my phone and opened the folder where I'd been saving screenshots for 3 years. We're going to expose them. That night, I sat at my desk and mapped everything out. Goal: make sure the world saw what Victoria had done. Make sure my father's perfect family was exposed as a lie. Make sure everyone who'd looked at their Instagram perfect life knew the truth. Tools: 1. My documentation. 3 years of evidence. 2. Social media. Their own posts would be their downfall. 3. Legal leverage. The will itself was evidence of erasure. 4. Public sympathy. A grieving teenage daughter versus a stepmother who wrote her out of existence. Timeline, 30 days, before the story got old. Platform. I'd create a website. Simple, clean, professional. I'd call it The Daughter He Forgot. I'd post every piece of evidence, every missed birthday, every family of 4 post, every document proving I'd been systematically erased, and I'd share it everywhere. But I needed help. My grandmother, my dad's mom, Patricia Hayes, called me 2 days after the funeral. "Aria, I need to see you." We met at a diner near her house. She was 72, sharp as ever, and angrier than I'd ever seen her. "That will," she said before I'd even sat down. "That goddamn will." "You heard? Richard's lawyer is an old friend. He called me. He thought I should know." She shook her head. $1. My son left his own daughter $1. "It's not his fault," I said quietly. Victoria rewrote everything. He believed her version. "Then we make sure people see the real version." I looked up. "You'd help me?" "Aria, I watched that woman erase you for 7 years. I tried to talk to Richard. He wouldn't listen. He was blinded by her." She leaned forward. "But he's gone now, and I'm not going to let his legacy be built on a lie." I slid my notebook across the table. "I've been documenting everything." She read through it, her expression darkening with every page. When she finished, she looked at me. "What do you need?" "I need corroboration. I need someone who can confirm I didn't just pull away. I have emails," she interrupted. "Years of them. Conversations with Victoria, where I asked about you, asked why you weren't at family events. She always had an excuse." My heart raced. "You kept them?" "I'm 72, I don't delete anything." She smiled grimly. "And I have photos, from before Victoria. Photos of you and your father. Happy. Together. We had everything we needed. I worked on the site for 2 weeks straight. Clean design, simple layout, professional tone. At the top, a photo of me and my dad from when I was 6. Both of us grinning, his arm around my shoulders. Pure joy. Header. The Daughter He Forgot. How a stepmother erased a child from her father's life. Sections. 1. Who I am. My name is Aria Hayes. I'm 15 years old. This is my father, Richard Hayes. He died 3 weeks ago and left me $1 in his will. Not because I didn't matter, but because someone convinced him I didn't exist. The timeline. A year-by-year breakdown of how I went from Daddy's Girl to The Daughter He Forgot, complete with dates, screenshots, and documentation. 3. The evidence, every missed birthday, every social media post featuring our family of 4, every Christmas card that erased me, every document proving this wasn't my choice, it was theirs. 4. The will, the final message, $1. With the hope that she learns the value of earning one's own way, here's what he didn't know. I've been earning my way my whole life. While his perfect family lived off his fortune, I worked part-time at a bookstore to save for college. While they posed for Instagram, I documented the truth. 5. Why I'm sharing this, not for revenge, not for money, but because erasure is abuse, and I refuse to be silent anymore. At the bottom, I embedded the will, the clause about the $1, the millions to Victoria, Mason, and Olivia, the proof. I showed it to my mum and my grandmother. My mum cried, "Aria, this is powerful. But are you sure you want to do this? Victoria will come after you." "Let her," I said. "I have the truth." My grandmother nodded. "When do we launch?" "Tomorrow, 10 a.m., before they can prepare." I posted the link everywhere. Reddit, R.A. raised by narcissists. R.A. is legal advice. I is a just family. Twitter with hashtags, #ErasedDaughter, stepfamily, abuse, the will. Facebook tagged to every family member and friend who'd ignored my disappearance. Emailed to local reporters, with subject, teenage girl erased from father's life, then his will. By noon, the site had 10,000 visits. By 3 p.m., it was trending on Twitter. By 6 p.m., a news outlet contacted me for an interview. By 9 p.m., Victoria called. "What have you done?" I'd been expecting the call, but her voice still made me flinch. "I told the truth," I said calmly. "You posted lies on the internet. Private family matters. Do you have any idea what you've done to us? Mason and Olivia are being harassed at school. People are calling me a monster. Your father's business partners are questioning his character." "Maybe they should," I replied. "Maybe everyone should question why a man who preached family values left his first daughter a single dollar." "Because you earned that," she screamed. "You were a difficult, ungrateful child who made everything about you instead of respecting your father's new life." And there it was. The truth she'd been hiding behind fake smiles for 7 years. "Difficult," I repeated softly. "I was 8 when you married him. I was a child who loved her father, and you systematically turned him against me because I reminded him of the life he had before you." Silence. "You're twisting everything," she finally said, her voice shaking. "No, I'm finally showing what you've been twisting for years. I could sue you for defamation. With what? Everything I posted is documented fact. Screenshots, dates, your own social media posts. Even the will proves my point." I paused. "But go ahead, sue me. Take me to court. Let a judge look at all the evidence." She hung up. The website went viral. Within a week, 2 million visits. 50+ news outlets covered the story. Victoria's social media accounts were flooded with comments. My dad's company released a statement distancing themselves from private family matters. 3 major brands dropped sponsorships of Victoria's lifestyle blog. Mason and Olivia's school, private, expensive, received so many complaints that Victoria withdrew them, but the real victory came from somewhere unexpected. My dad's lawyer, Mr. Patterson, called. "Aria, I need to tell you something. It's unorthodox, but after seeing your website, I feel it's necessary." "Okay." "Your father changed his will 6 months before he died. The original will, from before he married Victoria, left everything split between you and any future children. 50-50, or proportional if there were more kids." My heart stopped. "What?" "Victoria convinced him to change it. I have emails. She told him you'd become entitled and ungrateful, that leaving you money would reward bad behavior. She suggested the $1 as a teaching moment. Do you still have those emails?" "I do. And after what I've seen, how she's erased you, manipulated your father, I think they're relevant. Can I contest the will with that?" "You can. And given the public support, given the evidence you've compiled, I think you'd have a very strong case." I thought about it for exactly 10 seconds. "Let's do it." The settlement. Justice. Victoria fought for 3 months, but the evidence was overwhelming. Her emails to Mr. Patterson manipulating my father, my documentation of erasure, my grandmother's testimony, the public outcry, the will's own language. Teach her the value of earning her own way when I'd been working part-time while her kids lived off Dad's money. Her lawyers advised her to settle. Final terms. I received $1.4 million, roughly a third of the estate after legal fees. Victoria, Mason, and Olivia kept the rest. Victoria was required to issue a public apology acknowledging her role in damaging the relationship between me and my father. All social media posts featuring our family of 4 had to include a disclaimer that Richard Hayes had another daughter. She hated every word. But she signed. "I'm 16 now. The money is in a trust for college. My mum made sure of that. I still work at the bookstore. Not because I have to, but because I want to. I'm in therapy, working through what it means to be erased, And then vindicated. Victoria moved out of state. Mason and Olivia don't contact me. That's okay. The website is still up. I update it occasionally with messages from other kids who've been erased by step-parents, other forgotten children who finally feel seen. My grandmother visits every Sunday. We cook my dad's chocolate chip pancakes and talk about him, the real him, before Victoria. And that dollar? I framed it. It hangs in my room with a plaque underneath. What he thought I was worth. What I proved I'd become. Because here's what I learned. Sometimes the cruelest gift becomes the catalyst for the greatest change. That dollar wasn't an insult. It was evidence. And I used it to make sure the world finally saw the truth.